Alright, hell yeah. So we've started to cut this out of 2-inch foam. And again, what we're shooting for is like a very small lip here and then highly rockered. So when this goes sideways into a wave hole, that you don't have all that surface, you have a pointed edge. But hell yeah, it's going pretty good. Alright, hell yeah. So we're putting together our side profile, and what I'm noticing is for what I wanted to do is I wanted this to come up higher. Well, my foam isn't kind of in the right place. I just don't have a tall enough foam on this, and so I'm just going to match them for now. And I think, oh bummer. Now for a playboat, what you'd want the whole front end of your raft to look like this. Whether you had a front platform that came out just a little bit higher. And that would be cool, because if you had that 4-inch platform that came out just a little bit, then if you did go up into a bow stall, you might have maybe some secondary stability, piercing that point. I don't know how feasible that is, but that would be a sweet design to definitely ditch these. This wasn't necessarily a playboat. This was like, hey, if you had a full-size raft, how do you get the best of both worlds, play and river running? And so, hell yeah, we're going to chisel out these shapes. Alright, hell yeah, it's going pretty good. So we're able to cut out the bottom of this, and we got a nice little profile. And so, hell yeah. Now what we're going to do is, because I wanted this to be lower, so on the bottom this section is going to be bumped out, and then these will be our rails. So I'm going to draw this in and then keep carving. Booyah. Alright, hell yeah. So that's that platform, and that looks pretty good, you know what I mean? And then we'll start to chisel out the rails. Booyah. Alright, and if we do two things at once, this is going to sinuate the 4-inch rail all the way around, and I'm going to draw that here as well. Hell yeah, because these are going to be our stabbing points, and so I'm going to round this out as well. So that corner is going to be highly rockered. Hell yeah. Alright, hell yeah. So this is the first cut I made. I went straight down and then chiseled out the side. And so what we want is this to be lower, so we are going to chisel first a little bit of a flat, but then, yeah, and it's kind of we're running out of boat here. So there's a chance that this surface needs to be a little bit narrower. But, hell yeah. No, I think it's good though. And if we want to do any modifications, we can make that side different. Alright, hell yeah, I feel like I'm haggering this. So this is the front, but I don't mind that the front is pointy. In the back I kind of kept this, we definitely just chiseled off just a flat 90, but that's what we wanted, you know what I mean, something like this. But honestly, this is critical that when you do this, like the boat should be probably at this angle. And so what that's going to have to happen is that this rail has to be much narrower. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. And that's what we wanted. We wanted this to be railed out, and then another tiny, and then just a quick step down to a flat, and then this angle. But that's a lot to ask for in just a small profile. Even though we have a lot of width to work with, because we want that to be symmetric on both sides, it's really, you're still just working with a half of a boat, and then trying to get two different things, two places of stability. One neutral, one just on those double rails, and then the other one totally on this edge. So hell yeah. I'm going to see if I can just modify this side. I'll just kind of eyeball it up, see if we can get the curves a little bit better. Alright, hell yeah. So I learned a lot from this. Okay, so this side we kind of smoothed over, and so we do have a little bit of secondary edge, and I can even, like roll this. I don't know if I can feel that first edge, but like we said that first edge we want to be fairly unstable. And but then you definitely have a, and that's too high. That seems too high of an edge angle, but I just don't know how you're actually going to roll over the surface. I mean, what we're doing here is what I wanted to do is get rid of the rounded shape. And this is still fairly rounded, where, you know, this isn't actually what I wanted. I wanted to work on more of a hard edge, but it's just really hard to do that. You could make the boat, like I said, wider. Like, focus on this part to come out at whatever angle makes sense, where you get stability there. And then move this inward. So maybe you're just like on a thinner rail right in the middle. That's one way. Things that I'm thinking, I don't know if this point is a good idea. I think having a rounded surface right at this corner, so you could even square this off and then just make a complete rounded surface, because what we're doing is we're thinning this out to like a 4-inch thing anyway, so it's going to stab. And if this was a completely rounded corner, like off of a 90, if you put that rounded corner right there, then it's almost omnidirectional. If you have a slight angle this way, the incoming water doesn't know, you know what I mean? Like the center of mass, I mean, that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to have your center of mass and whatever the momentum hitting that, where it's not just instantly turning the boat. Yeah, so I think a rounded surface would be better than a point. It looks better too. Now, off the back, I did put a staggered stair step, and I think this is what I was talking about, how just moving from the back thwart, you know, because typically I'm over onto this edge, but then I want to quickly move, well, what I want to do is I want to get the boat to here and then be able to roll it to the back. And then so what we have here is a 45-degree stair step. So a 45 and then that. I guess both these could be 45s. So then when we're on edge, we can easily just kind of shift back, and then that'll send that into a 45. So then hopefully this can kind of engage some of the kind of bow stalls. And I think the first thing in an R1 raft is just be able to lean here and then shift your weight around. But I've always said that, I mean, an R1 boat, there's so much boat to work with and so much mass that you can jump around, that it should be, for some simple things, it should be easier. So that's kind of the cool thing that I was just thinking about. Alright, so hell yeah. And then you can make an asymmetric boat. You can have as much stair steps off the back, because this thing's going this way in the water. The other thing is most of your mass is going to be right at the back of these boats, and so you can really lift the front end out. Because what I wanted to do is have this front end be lower, and then so when you do surf, you're doing something like this. You're trying to scoop water here first, and then have this as buoyant stability second. And that's where I really wanted this, you know, to be up here. But I think if we glue some more foam onto this, hell yeah, we can just raise this height up, and I think that would be pretty sweet. And so again, surfing, you're going to stab in with the bow and do bow stalls, but this is almost a perfect angle, because even just like right there, hell yeah. And now what you have is these for secondary stability. And then, you know, what I was thinking is, like, once they're here, then you would actually have these come out at flat angles. So, you know what I mean? You would actually have these ramped up off the front. Hell yeah. I might chisel out where the seat is, just so you can kind of see where the compartment is, and then it'll be done for tonight. Booyah. Alright, hell yeah. So we made a well and for foot placements, but what I really want to talk about before I forget, did I even forget? Yeah, so it's using drop stitch material. You can have these 4-inch corners, but also like this whole panel could be a panel of drop stitch. And the interesting thing about that is in an R1 boat, I want this compartment to be the only one that actually retains water, and the others to be very quick draining. But even right here, we have this front compartment that's quick filling, you know what I mean? Kind of quick filling and quick draining. This will act as a scoop, where if I have material coming in here, like a 4-inch drop stitch panel, that's what the boat's going to be resting on. And I found that is like some of the better it's a really good design. So you could have that and then twist it up, make a continuous panel. Yeah, so that could be pretty sweet. Also, I was thinking that you could have the panel. No, I think twisting it up. But I was thinking that if you had a pocket that could actually trap water, like if you stabbed all this in and then you had a pocket that trapped water, that could be beneficial because now, like, if it's not going to trap water for all, paddling and power strokes, but then when you do actually plug something that actually traps water, that could be a benefit of loading up your boat with water. And so that's the other aspect of rafts in general, like that they don't even capitalize on. Even catarafts, rafts, of actually scooping in water, but with that you need it to be almost drained instantly. You need to scoop it and then drain it. So I like that. And a cat tube actually does that. When a cat tube stabs through waves, they're essentially scooping water and then they're releasing it once they once they finish subbing. So hell yeah. So I think we did pretty good with this design. I think I'm done for this evening. And hell yeah. And then the things just to work on is to have this be independent. Because I was like, well, what's up with this? Well, no, this will be definitely higher. And the other thing about this is rafts for sure have a kick rocker. But what we did is we took a normal raft and we were able to get all of our kick just from a flat surface. So that's kind of interesting. But I do want this to scoop and I want these to be higher. So if I can glue two of these foam chunks together, I definitely want this to be taller. And then and I'll have to figure out where I want it. So I want to be able to scoop and then, have that for secondary stability. So, even if it was just, if I could paddle in a lake and then do this, and then rock back down, I think that would be a cool play move to do. And just something, have a boat that's actually fun to play on a lake, and then people will do R1 in the winter, build skill, just have a good time with it. But hell yeah, so this worked out really well, and that's it, booyah.